Love, and part of what we do at the Arts Council in Nevada is to acknowledge the place that we are in relation to the people who've been there before. Does anyone in the room, would anyone in the room like to acknowledge, do our tribal acknowledgement today? Is this something that you do at the Arts Council, Stephanie?
It's something that they do at the city council meetings. They do a land acknowledgement statement at every city council meeting. I used to work for the Susanville Indian Rancheria, which makes up the 4 local tribes, which are Pit River, Paiute, Maidu, and Washoe. Those are the 4 indigenous tribes in the Susanville area that make up the Susanville Indian Rancheria. But there are several other tribes within this region as well.
So it's lovely, you've named them. We are here on their land. California Creative Corps, what is it? The governor in the 2021-22 budget decided that he wanted to spend important recovery funds through workforce development and gave $60 million, just under $60 million to the California Arts Council, through which his intention is to pay artists, position artists, and pay them artists in relation to issues that are critical to society. And so today we're introducing a new method by the state for evaluating the relative health of communities across California. It was created by the Public Health Alliance of Southern California for the whole of California. And it essentially manifests as a digital map that displays, it defaults to a bird's eye view of census tracts across California. You can also view it by county, and you can view it by congressional region, Senate, any legislative region, and in other ways as well, by cities and et cetera, in addition to the indicators that decide whether a community is healthy or unhealthy. The Healthy Places Index is also measuring the degree to which the social demographics include, racial and cultural considerations. So here, for example, in Lassen County, we can see that 1.4% of your population it's extraordinary that they're called American Indian, because I know we don't use the word Indian anymore, but this map uses the word Indian, which is sort of slightly unnerving. But it's absolutely fascinating. So it tells you in every single tract exactly what the demographic makeup is. Skipping ahead a little, if you were to write a grant come early spring next year, you'd want to be somehow referring to or showing your understanding of, the cultural makeup of the place that you call home. So here we are, the state government is turning to artists to have artists help frame issues that are critical to society. So an example for you might be, how can you put artists to work? Apply for some money, put artists to work around campaigns that get people vaccinated, for example. We're just coming out of this massive pandemic. It's a miserable pandemic, 2.5 years. And it's no wonder that you see programs such as this arising, from the ashes of that. So I'm very excited. Thank you.
I can see with this tool, it's absolutely tremendous for grant writing. I mean, that's the core of
all the
building communities. Bringing federal funds and state funds to rural communities. And a tool like this, I used something back in the Bush administration. They had some studies they had the Healthy Marriage Initiative at that time. And these things are so important to be able to lay out and paint a picture of what your community needs, not only for the federal level, but to talk to people on a local level and relate to people one-on-one about what is actually going on in the community.
Do you know any artists? And when we're talking about artists, we're not talking about just visual artists. It could be literary artists, media artists, filmmakers, actors, creative technicians, musicians, performers. So
It's the arts that inspire. They tell stories, things that we remember for the rest of our lives that live on into eternity.
well, hopefully this map, this crazy thing called the Healthy Places Index, will help you think about it in such a way that you can frame your life experiences and put them to use, channel them for funding to pay you for something.
Well,
So,
your map, your healthy map here, the healthiest people, healthiest places are the least healthiest as far as I'm concerned. We don't need a state park here. It's accessible, and there's not, I don't know if there's a park within, we can walk into the woods freely.
so what we hope you'll do is challenge the map if you feel that it's not relevant to what your community feels is necessary to be healthy. Brendan, thank you so much.
There's so many stories here, and it's up to our art people to communicate what we have here. So, and I'm a strong supporter of the murals that we have. In fact, the mural in our post office is a WPA.
And then Laura shared with me that one of the murals that we'd looked at was painted by a very dear, very formidable artist who lives in my hometown, or the city in our hometown, Judith Lowry, who is a member of the Fox River tribe here, and who comes and goes, and I had no idea about that. So we immediately, Laura and I, was like inspired to send her a text of the picture of her mural work. Guess where I am? Anyway, so it was a lovely local connection.
I was sad to see that the Arts Council couldn't really do a lot during COVID, and they just kind of ran into a hard time trying to get their programming back on track. And I really enjoy programming. I really enjoy helping with the shows. My children come to the gallery and volunteer and help paint shows. So we're trying to get the Arts Council back out into the community. We're trying to get it further out into the rest of the county, because I feel like that's one of the things that's very important is we represent the entire county, but being located in Susanville, we need a lot of help to get further out into the county. And we're a very rural area. So getting some of that programming out into these smaller communities outside of Susanville is a challenge, but it's one that we are willing to accept.
After art and pieces are created, what's the end result? What's the goal? What for display or dissemination to the public?
I love that. I love that.
So I'm gonna get to the point.
No, that's great. And I think I would turn that question back to you. What are you going to do? When you have your project, how is it going to engage, within the community? How will you draw people to that? Or how will you take it out and push it out to people? And how will you evaluate that? There will probably be a question, how will you know if you're successful? So we'll look to you for that. We probably will encourage, we'll make it like an optional thing. It would be great if, for example, the Arts Council maybe could put on a show of local art from artists, from one particular project or more than one. Wouldn't have to be visual. Maybe you could have readings, or maybe if there's a documentary artist that has been successful in receiving a grant, maybe it could share their work as well. But there are many forms it could take. But how will you know if you've been successful will be a key question that we ask of you.
That was some of the comments we got from parents, was like, thank you so much for making this little place a hub for somewhere for their kids to go. And, you know, we had a lot of people express, a lot of parents express, like, and my kid never comes out of their room. And they did, because they wanted to bring something into the show. And these parents had no idea that their kids were capable of these amazing things that came into this little gallery. And it was definitely a compliment to the effort that was made to get that show in here.
Years ago, I was part of the California Humanities Grant thing.
Yeah.
You know, and just going around, like I did some creative writing workshops with the Rancheria. Had some absolutely wonderful, terrific, writers that were just incredible. But we got stories from people all around the community. They didn't have to be writers. We would get stories from them, and it was just a wonderful experience. And a little anthology came out, resulted from it.
We don't really have, literally this is about listening. So I'm lapping this up, and I'm realizing that for you, I'm thinking that for this group, the youth is very important, isn't it? The youth are your future, they're all of our futures. In fact, it's never been more important. And you've seen within the Healthy Places Index that education is a very strong signifier of a community's health. And again, when we talk about health, let's think of alternative definitions of what health is, because this is what the Healthy Places Index is all about. So make it your own, grab what narrative you can from that, and then you make your case.